Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever I find you. It has been a minute since I've done a live. If you can see and hear me, please pop it in the chat. I look forward to sharing with you about today's topic. And while we wait to just see that the audio and video is working fine, I just invite you to take a moment to connect with your environment. It is so easy in our current day to multitask and do all the things, and it gets in the way of our ability to learn really well. So if you are watching the replay or you are on live and hiding, then please do rub your hands over the other hand and feel what that feels like. Feel your feet on the ground. Listen to what you can hear in your environment to just get really present and sort of soothe your nervous system a little bit to come here and now. And if we haven't met before, I'm Carolyn Southwell. I'm a 2/4 emotional projector. I have been working with human design for more than a decade. And yesterday I sat down to answer one of the questions that had come in from the community, and I created this entire Google presentation. And I realized as I was doing it that I had this entire masterclass that I was going to want to teach like an hour's worth of content. And I'm like, it's too much. We need the short version. So if you can see and hear me, please type it in the chat so I know that all systems are go. Today we just have a piece of paper. This is to stop me from teaching on this topic for an entire hour, because that's not what we do on free YouTube videos. That's what paid work is for. So as we settle in, please do let me know in the chat if you can see and hear me, and then we will get in to today's topic. The way I have been doing these is that people are asking questions on YouTube videos, and if the question that they're asking, that you ask, great, thank you for the feedback that the video is working. Thank you very much. If you have a question to ask where you know that I don't need to see your specific chart, and you know that there is every chance that there are hundreds or thousands of other people who might have the same question, there's no stupid questions. There's only whether or not the question is general enough for me to answer on the channel, or specific, so specific that I need to see your specific chart and do it in a one-on-one context. So if you do have a question like that, you can always pop it in a comment below a video. I answer videos from people who really value my work and want to hear my specific take on their specific question. So today's topic is, are you a teacher from a human design perspective? Like, are you by design a teacher? I have 5 points that I have scribbled down on my piece of paper here that I want to cover. So if this is something that feels really important to you, stick around to the end. I promise I will attempt to stay on track, which is what my little piece of paper is for. So 1, what's a teacher? Let's start with the definition. Most of us have been brought up to think that a teacher is a person who works in a school teaching children. And there is definitely a place for that in the channel. If you, in the chart, now, if you have channels or gates defined in tribal circuitry, and I'll run through what those are very quickly, then there is a very good chance that you have teaching energy, especially if it is in your personality, sun or earth, or design sun or earth. I'm going to do this the wrong way because YouTube flips me. But if you look at the columns of numbers, the top 2, if you have one of the gates I'm about to say, one or more of the gates that I'm about to say in those top 4, then there is a very good chance that you are really drawn to teaching children. Okay, so in no particular order, I'm just going to see the chart in my head. 59, 6, 37, 40, 44, 26, 21, 45, 32, 54, and 19, 49, and 50, 27. Okay, if you have any of those individual ones, or any of the channels, then you are, and especially if it's in one of your top 4 placements, it's very likely that you identify as like of a real interest in teaching children somehow. So the question is, Let's dive into this. So this to me, there's two types of teachers. When we think about teaching, there's school teachers. But when we zoom out from that and we think bigger picture, we go, what is a teacher? A teacher is somebody who is transmitting information. Okay. And when we think about in the chart as a whole, and we think about one of the centers, if you knew, that's those geometric shapes, there's 9 of them. When think about one of those centers, the throat center is about communication. It doesn't matter where you might have all this cool tribal energy lower down in the chart, it somehow has to get to the throat for you to like share it, transmit that information to people. Okay. So let's spend some time hovering around the throat center. So if you have a look at your human design chart, you are going to see that there are almost definitely some gates that are white, that is undefined, and some gates that are colored in some other color. They'll be red or black, probably depending on the software that you use. You might even have a defined channel. Some of you will have a defined channel where it goes the whole way through to connecting to another center with a colored line. So if you have a look at what's happening in your throat center, wherever you have definition, wherever you have color, this is how you are going to teach. Now, what you are going to teach is going to be elsewhere in the chart, probably, but how you teach is going to be shown in your throat center. Now, it doesn't matter if your throat center is undefined or defined, you can still be a teacher. So I want to give you some examples here. Actually, we might do that when we talk about incarnation crosses. I'm going to give you some good examples there, but you'll see, because I'm going to run through multiple different configurations. Now, if your throat is totally open, which is extremely rare because there are so many ways that it can be activated. If your throat is completely open, that means it's all white the whole way around. You're really here to listen. you might teach by example. You might teach through the quality of your listening. But most people will have one or more gate activations, and many people will have one or more defined channels coming from the throat. So yesterday when I went through and created this entire presentation, I was talking about all of the throat centers, the throat gates, and all of the ways that they communicate. You can deep dive more into that in session with me if that's something that you're interested in, or you can just get a really good book that goes through all of them and go, oh, how does gate 31 communicate as opposed to gate 56, as opposed to gate 20, for example, right? They're all quite different, those 3 examples. Let's move on to point number 3, which is about how, because so many people are going to have definition in their throat, so many of you, it doesn't necessarily mean that you will identify as a teacher. However, what I have found is that when I see people who have throat gates in their incarnation cross, now your incarnation cross is made up of your personality sun and earth, your design sun and earth. So again, if you look at the columns of numbers on either side of your chart, or next to your chart, you're going to see the top 2 on both sides. So you're going to have 4 gate placements. And if those gates, if any one or more of those 4 gates that have been activated by the sun and earth on either side are throat gates, then there is a much higher chance that you will identify as a teacher of some type, or that you will find that you spend a lot of your time teaching. Yeah. So here's some examples. I had a friend of mine who was a 3-5 reflector. So here's a good example of somebody who has an undefined throat, because reflectors will always have an undefined or open throat. And she was born on the right angle cross of Maya. Now, Maya has gate 62 as one of the 4 gates, right? So here's a reflector with an undefined throat, but she has a defined gate within her throat. And she taught me profound things about how to listen to the body and honor the body and be with the body, right? Now, there were other things going on as to why that was the particular thing that came out, but it was her 62 that allowed her to explain that so simply and so cleanly to me that I really understood something that I had wanted to understand Well, I'll give you another example. A 5-1 splenic projector friend of mine has the entire channel the 1762, right? So it's again this explaining energy. Now she has taught me so much about mindfulness, right? Now there are other things in her design that mean that mindfulness is the thing that wants to come out of her throat, but she's extremely good at having the details and a strong opinion that then she can communicate simply through the 62. So what I've said is just 1762 energy and communicate it simply. So that's an example of a projector with a defined throat and where she has definition because of that defined channel that's connecting her ajna to her throat. And so she's able to teach really cleanly, really well. Okay, I'll give you another example. The woman who I did my EFT training with many years ago is a 6-2 sacral manifesting generator. And she has the 1156 now. Just note, I'm not going to say this, to put them on the right side because of the flipping. I can't keep track of whether I'm on my left or right, but it's on one side of the throat, the opposite side to the 1762. So she has the 1156. She would teach with endless stories and examples and metaphors all day long. Now, my 11 loved it, but there was another student in the class who couldn't stand it because she didn't have that sort of energy. That wasn't the right teaching style for her. But I found this teacher to be really incredible. So there is a really powerful, and this woman in particular, really powerful manifesting generator who's teaching through storytelling, right? It's all more teaching energy, but can you see how there's so many different ways that you can teach? I'll give you one more example. I am an emotional projector, 2-4. So you can see that there's lots of different possibilities for you as a teacher. I have an undefined throat. I have a lot of gate activations on my throat, but most importantly, my personality sun, which is our most powerful placement, is in gate 45, which is teaching energy, right? It's in the throat. Yeah. It says, I want to get the resources to my people. Okay. So hopefully that all made sense. Have a look at your throat gates. Are any of the top 4 in your incarnation cross, are any of them in your throat? Okay. Point number 4. Have you checked with your strategy and your inner authority if you're here to be a teacher? Now, this is really like, there is so much detail that we can dive into with human design, so much. And the thing is that if you are willing to come back to the basics again and again and again of playing with strategy and inner authority, it's like 80% of the job done. That's why I spend so much time with my clients, making sure, and my students in group spaces, making sure that people really understand what their strategy means, how to do it, what their inner authority means, how to listen to it. Because it's like 80% job done if you know how to follow strategy and inner authority. But it's not as sexy as digging into all the details, right? So again, let's do some examples. If you are a projector and you have been invited by somebody who really values and recognizes your ability to teach into a teaching opportunity where you are going to get paid to teach, you have an invite. The next thing to ask yourself is, does your inner authority say yes to this? If it does, then babe, you're here to teach, right? At least for right now. I'll give you another example. If you're a manifester, maybe you've been doing really powerful healing work, therapeutic work with clients, facilitating healing with people. And you've seen this pattern come up again and again and again and again and again. And you're like, oh man, I am so sick of informing my clients that they need to know XYZ thing. I'm just going to teach a class. So you have this urge to teach a group of your clients or students or would-be students this thing that you've realized that all of your clients need to know, and so many of them don't know. So you've had this urge, you then initiate, you make sure that you inform your people that this is the opportunity for you that they can learn from you. And you make sure in that process that you've checked in with your inner authority. Is it true for you? Whether you're emotional, splenic, or ego, like what's true for you? Is it true for you to initiate on this thing? And then you would inform. Okay, I'll give you one more example of strategy and inner authority. If you're a generator or a manifesting generator and you've seen an opportunity to teach and your gut has lit up. You're like, ooh, I want to do that. Maybe it's never occurred to you before to do that, but your gut says, ooh, yes, I want to do that. Check in with your inner authority. If it's sacral, which it will be for a whole bunch of you, then you just check. Your gut says yes now. Great. Apply for the role, whatever the role is, whether it's, as an employee or in a business context or whatever. Or if you're emotional, then you need to just take a few days and just sit with it. Does my gut still say yes? Does my gut still say yes? And if a few days later it's still saying yes, 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 then you're good to go. Okay, point number 5. And that is a reminder of a couple of things. 1, we are all teaching each other something. I love the quote that we're all walking each other home. We're all forever teaching something to each other, whether it's the way that we are being, what we are saying, what we are doing. Some of us identify more as teachers than others. Some will teach others incidentally by being artists or fixers or makers or doers or builders or carers or any number of other things are that really important roles that you could do in the world. But if you identify as a teacher, or you're not sure if you're a teacher, but you wonder, can you just get really quiet and tap into your own body wisdom? What does your soul say? Human design is not supposed to dictate to you who you are and what you're here to do. It's here to guide you to your own innate wisdom and confirm for you what deep down you already know about yourself. I hope this video has been helpful. If you would like more support from me one-on-one, I'll put links in the video description. And if you found this helpful, please give it a like or share a comment below. If you have further questions that you think, again, as I said at the very top of this video, if there is a question that you know that I could ask, that I could answer here on the channel, that is of a general format where I do not need to see your chart. The more general, the better, if I haven't answered it already. And if you haven't had a binge through my channel and you've stuck with me for 17 minutes, you obviously like the way I teach. So go and have a look through the channel and see if there's other content that supports you in your journey home.